Hey mates, Steady here. In this video I'm going to go through what you need to know before you start playing PoE 2. So basically how to pick a character, how to approach a skill tree, how to think about goals in the game, and at the end I'm going to go through a little bit more complex topics as well, but that's just like optional stuff at the end. So a bit about me if you don't know me already. I've been playing since beta. Got about 13k hours in PoE 1. I enjoy making builds, especially off-meta builds that can do the hardest content in the game, like killing the uber bosses and things like that. That's what I really like to do. I also enjoy helping people and basically sharing my knowledge. I've got a bunch of guides on my channel about PoE 1, so that's what I enjoy most about the game, I guess. Got 13,000 hours, as I said. So basically I'm like an average PoE player. I don't know everything, but I also don't know nothing. So I consider myself just an okay average player, in terms of experience. So in terms of PoE 2, I thought it'll be good to give an overview of the company that made PoE 2. Just my opinion on them, pretty much. So the company that makes it is GGG, which stands for Grinding Gear Games. They started out making PoE 1 in 2006, and they released it into beta in 2010, and then some way after that they released it as the full game with the sacrifice of the Val Pact, and here we are today. Throughout that time, GGG have been known to be good for their customer service. Like, their customer service is great, their approach to games is great. They always have put the game before like Reddit tiers, like so like if people are crying on Reddit, they tend to kind of like not ignore it, but they put the game before like knee-jerk reactions most of the time. And PoE 2 is in great hands, in other words. GGG are a great company. It's really good to support them, and kind of a breath of fresh air in this day and age of like corporate trash that like Blizzard puts out. Because so I'm a bit jaded, about Blizzard. I'm sure a lot of people out there are. So I started playing the Diablo series with Diablo 2, and then I got Lord of Destruction, and then I played D3 basically for a week on launch. There was like the real money auction house and all that, and it just like it was just a bad game. It had like error 37 and it wasn't fun. And then I got baited into pre-ordering D4, and I played it, and it was just really boring. Like, because I enjoy making builds, right? So I like all the builds are just cookie cutter. And actually, I just want to warn you, if you play PoE 2, D4 is going to look terrible. Like, it's going to really, if you're like the type of person that likes playing both, you're really going to struggle to find something to enjoy in D4 if you play a lot of PoE 2, basically. It's how it went for me anyway when I played PoE. Because I'm used to having an end game, right? In D4 you get to the end game and it's just the same thing over and over again. And you get to level 100, and then you have your Paragon board, which is super uninspiring. You have your cookie cutter builds that are made for you by the devs already. So that takes out like 80% of the fun I have in PoE, which is like making my own build and feeling like I've worked for something, because you start off on the beach and you get stronger and stronger and stronger as the game goes. And then by the end game, you're just like smoking uber bosses, right? Whereas in D4, all the monsters feel like the same, they kind of level up with you, and anyway, whatever. That's my little rant about D4. So that's a warning. Don't play too much PoE 2 if you're looking forward to playing a bit of D4 every now and then, because honestly it will ruin the game for you. You'll be like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Which is how I felt the last few seasons. So I haven't even, I've uninstalled it and I've stopped playing it, because even though I have a lot of nostalgia for the Diablo series, the game was just too boring, man. Anyway, that's my little, that's a little rant about that. So some people wonder, is Path of Exile pay to win? Short answer is no. Long answer is No, not really. But you can buy convenience basically, so you get, and also cool looks on your character. So the not really part of the pay to win is stash tabs. So basically having more space in your inventory, which is really good for trading. It makes trading far easier, and so it like kind of boosts your character. If you're in a trade league, kind of boosts your character, and you get a lot more slots that you can store stuff up, which is really useful as well if you're buying stash tabs. But that's about as far as it goes. Well, the rest is just cosmetic. There's no actual cosmetic that affects like how much damage you do or anything, you know, or how tanky you are. There's nothing that actually affects your in-game play, with the caveat of a few microtransactions in the past. Thinking of the Detonate Dead one in PoE 1, it didn't lag so much. Like basically there was the normal skill effect lagged your game out, but if you got the microtransaction one, it doesn't lag your game out, which is obviously a complete accident. GGG I think have patched that, but yeah, that's beside the point. Obviously that wasn't intended. So people also asked if you have to play PoE 1 before you play PoE 2, and the answer is no. And honestly I probably wouldn't even recommend it, especially at this stage, because we are like a week away from release now, and the systems in PoE 1 and PoE 2 are different, so you'll be learning some useless skills that won't even apply to the new game. Obviously if you have played PoE 1, it is an advantage because you'll be used to stuff like how to navigate the skill tree and be used to like the concepts behind the game and how the developers like you to play the game or that type of thing. But it's completely, you know, yeah, you don't need to play PoE 1. Yeah, and yeah, don't. Now the first thing you do when you play PoE 2 is you'll be making a class. So that's the most important decision you're going to make when you start out. So you can choose between 6 classes here: Warrior, Mercenary, Sorceress, Witch, Monk, and Ranger. Now each of these have 2 what's called Ascendencies. So what that does is it pretty much completely changes the way your character works. Now you're not going to be this particular class for long. Like this starting class, you're not going to be that for long. You're going to spend far more time as the Ascendant version that you pick. So it's very important that you actually pick your Ascendancy first before you choose which class to go. So I'm going to take you through some of the Ascendancies, well, all of the Ascendancies and what they do and what their strengths and weaknesses are. And it's important for you to pick that and then pick whatever starting class you want, because you're going to spend far more time as the Ascendant version of your class, basically. So yeah, let's start off with, well, let's have a brief summary basically. So a Titan here, that's the Warrior Ascendancy. Well, you got Titan and Warbringer. Titan's kind of the big strong guy. He has like really good with 2-handed weapons, has a lot of HP, so just your classic like big strong weapon dude. Warbringer is kind of like a guy that uses a lot of buffs, a lot of like shouts to buff himself. Looks like he's got good clear because he can explode enemies as well. So this guy's like big tough guy. This guy's a little bit more utility guy. You got Witch Hunter here. Looks like he's got really good single target and also good at exploding enemies as well. So this guy looks like a pretty good all-rounder, like from what I can see. Gemling Legionnaire looks like another jack of all trades kind of thing. It looks very powerful with just has a lot of buffs around gems, obviously called Gemling Legionnaire, but good all-rounder. So you got your Sorceress classes. Yeah, so it's Chronomancer. That's the one that stops time, freezes time, can go backwards on time. It looks like there's a lot of stuff based around time, but also doesn't really look like it's got much stuff based around doing damage or anything. So it looks like another good utility class. And then you got Stormweaver here, which is like just a classic like elemental sorceress, so just does a lot of elemental damage. Looks like pretty squishy, but does, yeah, good damage. For Witch you got Infernalist, so just a It's like a fire-based class. You can use your minions like with the Infernalist. Like, it looks like a lot of the skills that the Infernalist does is like just has nothing to do with the minions. So it's kind of like you have your minions and then you can also be an Infernalist on top. Which, yeah, got your Blood Mage, which looks sick, really cool. Looks like it can be extremely tanky at some point. You got your Monk Ascendencies here. You got Invoker, which is like a elemental damage dealer type, like a melee damage dealer, elemental melee damage dealer type class, which looks like, in general, Monk is sort of glass cannon-y by the looks. And then you got Acolyte of Chiula, which is the one I'm going to start, League start, which has got a lot of chaos damage, and I just like the whole idea of being a dark monk. I think that is like pretty sick, so I'm going to try that. I got some build ideas around this, and I'll be releasing a video on that because I think there's a lot of cool stuff we could do with this. Anyway, Ranger, Deadeye, which is just just your classic bow and arrow, does a lot of damage with, but kind of squishy. And you got Pathfinder, which is a bit more utility, uses its flasks a lot. You get more flask charges with it, and you kind of use your flasks to do damage as well. So that's like a basic rundown of all these ascendancies. But yeah, actually I'll do it more in depth if we can pull up. Okay, so we've got, these are all the classes and their ascendancies here. So this is the warrior one, and these are the actual ascendancy nodes, like the ascendancy nodes that you get. So you see this is like Earthbreaker, 20% chance for Sand Schools to call Aftershocks. I'm not going to read out all of them. This information is all like publicly available. I'll link links to these pages below so you can read them yourself. But this is what an ascendancy like skill tree looks like. This will pop up right beside your normal skill tree. And what happens is every time you do what's called a trial, you'll get 2 points after you do the trial, and you can basically take a little node. So you start here, take one little node, and then take the big node. That's how that works. So you can do it 3 times before you get to maps, or before you get to endgame, and then after endgame you get to do it 1 more time. So you end up having 4 big nodes, basically 4 of these really good. Let's get Warbringer. So 4 of these by the end of it. So you kind of have to like select those pretty carefully. Now another thing is you cannot change your ascendancy after you've picked it currently. Obviously you can make a new character and choose another ascendancy, but you can't change it on that character. So once you've chosen it, you're locked in. So that is a very important choice. But yeah, we'll go through these for a little bit. So yeah, Titan 1 is just like big damage, more life, great armor, chest which has 20 inventory slots is actually really useful. This is so this is a really good ascendancy. I really like the Titan one. Warbringer, a little bit uninspired so far. Honestly, it's like so you know, got some damage reduction by the looks. You got corpse explosion, which is great for clearing. Ancestral spirits, ignore warcry cooldown, so that could be cool for like exploding stuff. But honestly, not that hyped personally. Sorceress, so we've got Stormweaver and Chronomancer here. Elemental Storm, so yeah, just normal elemental stuff. And then yeah, just stuff we've been through before with Chronomancer. You can freeze time and jump around. Which got a lot more information so far on this. Infernal Flame, so that's just a mechanic where you do more damage. Demon Form. Wait, Demon Form's an Infernalist? Well, there you go. Yeah, maybe that's super. Oh, that looks so cool, the Demon Form. Blood Mage looks really cool as well. Man. Blood Mage looks really. I wish you could. Well, actually. Okay, yeah, I won't talk about that actually. It'll complicate things. But yeah. 10% spell damage is leached as life, which is cool. And gain energy shield from equipped body armor is extra max in life. So this Blood Mage looks like it could be super tanky. And so Demon Form is Infernalist. Do we know where it is? No, we don't know where it is. Okay. Oh, that's cool. I don't know. Yeah, it looks super sick. Anyway, Ranger, boring Ranger stuff. Additional mark, accuracy penalty at distance. It looks like there's going to be an accuracy penalty at distance now. That's not in PoE 1, so it looks like that's a new thing. And Tailwind, which is great. That's like you run faster and your whole action speed's faster, so you attack faster, run faster. Everything you do is cast is faster. Everything you do is faster. Blah blah blah. Less damage taken per Tailwind. I wonder what the max Tailwind is. Anyway, Pathfinder Ascendency. Yeah, it's boring stuff. Immune to slows. This is super powerful actually. Extremely powerful. Probably like one of the most powerful defensive nodes in the game. If that means that your action speed can't be reduced, then that's crazy. Life flasks are not removed. This is super powerful as well, because you basically can regen a lot with your massive life flask. So you're constantly regening, so yeah, it's huge. The speed is unaffected by... Okay, so this looks like... The speed is this looks like... Okay, so this looks like your action speed unaffected by slows. And then immune to slows. Okay, so maybe... Yeah, I don't know, we'll have to... Oh, this is the same... Wait, they just put it in twice? With different descriptions? What does it actually say? It doesn't say. Immune to slows. Okay, well, yeah, if that means your speed is unaffected, then I'm guessing it means action speed, which means like it's not just running. It also means that you're not going to get slowed down when you're attacking, because there's like if, for instance, if you're chilled, your attack speed can be slowed. So I'm guessing it means all slows, not just speed, like movement slows, which is great. 5 passive skill points is huge. Like, what? Okay, that's huge. What? Okay. Okay, maybe Pathfinder is pretty good then. Mercenary. This looks like such an OP class, honestly. Both these look really strong. Blah blah blah. Concentration, mechanic stuff. Deal up to 30% more damage to enemies based on their missing concentration. Culling strike, decimating strike. So culling is like when they're low life, when they're like, say below, I don't know what the threshold is in PoE 2, but I think like say for instance they're below 10% life, it'll just instantly kill them, which is great for boss killing. Basically it's like 10% more damage on the boss. Decimating strike, don't know what that is. Yeah, up to 30%. It's on their missing concentration. I think that's the same one. This has got it double in. Yeah. 2% less armor and evasion rating, and that sorcery ward that basically gains like a shield against fire, like elemental damage. 10% chance. This is huge. Great for clearing. Basically, if there's like a rare in the middle of a pack of like a mob, it'll just explode the whole pack, and you kill it instantly. So it's like really good for clearing. And 20 weapon set skill points. So I mean, I'm guessing it's not just 20 skill points, because that's insane. I'm guessing it turns normal passive points into weapon set points. So you have the same amount of points, but you can, like, you've got more customization when you swap your weapon sets, is what I'm guessing that means. Crystalline potential, so 12% quality to all skill gems. That's huge. Quality of gems does a lot in the game. 3 additional skill slots, so you can have three more skills, obviously. And just max res, good defensive stats for elemental damage. And attribute requirements of gems can be satisfied by your highest attribute. So attributes are a big thing in the game, and that means that you can socket in like off-color gems. When I say off-color gems, a mercenary is dexterity class, memory, dexterity, like straight up green. Well, it might be green and red. Is it green? What is it? It's green and red. So it's strength and dexterity class. So it'll be able to, you know, use. It might not have a lot of intelligence because you need a lot of like dexterity to run your stuff. So you can then use your highest attribute, which would be like either dexterity or strength, to satisfy the requirements of other stuff, which means you can basically run all the gems in the game without having to care about which attribute you're speccing into. You can just smash your highest one, which is good. I probably made that way more confusing than it should be, but there you go, that's what I'm here for. Alright, Monk, so this is what I'm going to go, and well, I'm going to go this one, but let's look at this Invoker one. This actually looks really good too. I really want to try this one as well, but just elemental damage, elemental damage, more elemental damage, and then you get a lot of energy shield. Now if you meditate, but I don't know, that is not my cup of tea. Having a meditate before a map is not really, for me. But yeah, whatever. This one looks like it could be a double-edged sword. So remove all spirit. I've got an idea where I'll never lose darkness unless I die, basically. I'll talk about that in my video about the Ascendency I'm going. But I've got what could possibly be some super broken tech out of the gate in my head. Mana Leech is instant, that's huge. 1% damage of extra chaos damage per 20 unreserved darkness. So I'm unsure if you can actually gain darkness in any way. Like if like say for instance getting spirit affects that, I doubt it. But yeah, it looks like the maximum darkness is going to be about 600 because you get 100 base maximum and plus 5 per level, and you can get to level 100, right? So that equals 600 darkness, which means you get 30%. It should be gain, not grain. So that means you get 30% extra chaos damage. So you basically get 30% more damage just for existing, which is cool. Into the Breach, this just gives you little buffs that you pick up around on the ground. Chailer's Gift, so 10% to maximum chaos res, and chaos res is doubled. That's actually huge. Yeah. Chaos res is a stuff that protects against like poison damage, and a lot of like monster affixes have like does physical damage as extra chaos damage, so it just protects against that. So yeah, that's the classes there. Oh, their Ascendencies. So I wanted to talk a bit about the skill tree. So this is it. See, massive, scary, wow. But this is like the position you start in here, and you've only actually got like 2 choices, right? So I can either do that one or that one. One of them gives damage, one of them gives life. Oh, gives armor. So an offensive one and a defensive one. So let's say I want to pick damage. Off I go, picking damage. Then I've got 2 more choices here. More damage or some stats. Now in the beginning of the game, don't pick stats yet on the side. Just carry on doing whatever you picked. More damage, more damage. Now I can choose out of attack speed and more damage. I'll choose more damage, more damage, more damage. So you basically only have one. You can pick both, but in the start of like when you're first starting out on your tree, it's best just to not. It's best just to carry on and get to like better nodes at the start. So for instance, let's say I am doing a fire build, right? So let's say fire. I can search, well, first I have to learn how to spell. I can search fire, and it will highlight everything to do with fire basically on the tree. So this stuff here, that gives fire damage, the extra fire damage is fizz damage. So I can like aim for those nodes pretty quickly and start like making my build. If, say for instance I'm a fire person, depending on what type of fire damage I'm doing and stuff. And I can just like travel to those. In PoE 2 you'll be able to choose, these are tattoos, which makes things difficult, and I've got a lot of them on this build, but in PoE 2 these will be stat nodes, so they'll be like, hang on, let me jump over here, let me move over here and I'll show you. These will be stat nodes. In PoE 1 they're fixed, so this is like just plus 10 strength, but in PoE 2 you'll be able to choose like 5 to intelligence, 5 to dexterity, or 5 to strength, right? Yeah. In PoE 2, 5 strength gives you 10 life, like plus 10 to your life pool. That's a red thing, life pool there. It gives plus 10 to your mana pool if you do intelligence, like 5 intelligence gives you plus 10 to your mana pool, and 5 dexterity gives you like plus 10 to accuracy rating, which is like how well the chance you have to hit someone with an attack. But yeah, like let's say I want to go do fire damage, so I just click on this, get elemental damage, that's fire 2, you know, just carry on and travel to elemental damage there too, click that as well. I have to go this way. You know, there we go. More elemental damage, that's fire, elemental's fire. So things like that. In PoE 2 it'll be a bit more like clear, but it's not as scary. I know I zoom out, but it's not as scary as it looks. It's it makes like kind of sense. You don't really have that many, you know, you don't really have that many choices, right? It's just like damage. This is physical damage, so melee physical damage, right? Melee physical damage, and then I can go like, this is life, but you don't have life nodes anymore. So we'll do accuracy, so I can hit people better, get some life regen. Yeah, these are accuracy nodes, and whatever, and some stats, and whatever. And some elemental resists, there's a defensive, obviously. Or I can go down, and if I'm using double-handed weapons, this is like 10% physical damage with double-handed weapons. So I can do that. Then PoE, and then get a mastery, like let's say chance to deal triple damage. In PoE, it's usually better, like rather than taking a full circle, like rather than going the full circle, you just pick one side and take it. Saves you skill, because you really just want to get to this notable. Now this big one, that does a lot. So you can either do that, or if the extra skill point is worth it, you can take the 2 side. Just whatever you think is best. But it's pretty rare that you want to take the full cluster like that. It has to be like a really good cluster. So for instance this, most people take these 2 and then that. And off we go here, and then maybe some more because there's a 2-handed weapons here. Like let's say we want to do, you know, just fizz damage. These all, it's a lot more highlighting. So this is just 2-handed fizz, so super generic. Can be using like any kind of weapon. Whereas some are more specific, like it has to be a 2-handed axe, you know, things like that. But you can see I've actually only got like, I haven't got many choices really. Like I can branch off. I can branch off and have more elemental resistances or whatever, but I can only choose to go these different ways, and really I'm just aiming for good notables, like these ones. I just want to aim for things like, for big ones for these that like just affect my build a lot, basically. That's how I think about it anyway. So, physical damage, like damage at the start, or you can go defensive. Ignore these at the start. Basically the only reason you'd take these nodes rather than these nodes is later on if you're like into like level 90s in the super end game and you want to save some skill points because you want to like get something better at the end. So that's the only reason. So for instance you're usually going down this way, like you're taking the strength node. By just taking these 2, you cut out like 1, 2, 3, 4 for 2. So you basically have plus 2 skill points that you can use at the end, like later on. But I think I'm getting a little bit too complicated, so I'm going to shut up now. But the skill tree is not as daunting as it looks. You know, you have a limited amount of choices, and now you can respec as you go. So even if you want to change it later, you can pretty easily. It takes a little tiny amount of gold, which is really easy to farm. You're constantly farming the gold passively. You don't even realize it, and then you can just like respec your whole tree pretty much like over and over again, pretty simply. Until you get into the super end game where it gets a lot more expensive, you get kind of more locked in. But by that stage you'll have a functional build, so you won't be trying to respec so much anyway. This is the Ascendency tree. This is how it works. You can see I've got 8 Ascendency points, which is what you're going to get in PoE 2 as well. And so you have like a little node and then a big node. So that's 2 points that uses, and a little node and a big node, and that's another 2 points there. And that'll be like I just clicked some random Ascendency things, but that'll be like a whole Ascendency class right there. That'll be all 8 points used. And I'm not going to read these out because these are just not relevant to PoE 2. But that's how the Ascendency tree works. It's just like 1 trial is that, 1 node, 2 trials is that, 3 trials is that, and then 4 trials is that. So you get 4 nodes all up. But yeah. So that's another passive skill tree there. It's about all about that. You can also get stash tabs in PoE. Mine's probably a little bit messy, but this is a currency tab in PoE 1. And you see everything kind of stacks. And then you got different types of tabs. So this is fragments. It's pretty empty because I don't use standard, but yeah. Anyway, that's that. So something I wanted to talk about as well is goals in PoE 2. So in PoE 1, you can basically play your own game how you want to. So the best thing about PoE 1 is you can avoid content you don't like, but you can play the heck out of content you love, you know, which is the best thing about it. You can create your own end game, and that's what they're also doing with PoE 2 as well. So you find the content you enjoy, and you just farm it until you get bored of it, and you can change. Or I never get bored of the content I usually do, so I just do it over and over again, which is great. But you can set your own goals. Like it might be to just finish campaign. That can be a goal. You know, that's fine. That's super casual because the game starts after campaign in most people's eyes. But you can do that. It could be to get to level 100. That's a goal. You know, that's a possibility. You have to have a solid build to get there, but you know you can do it. It could be to get to level 90. It could be to earn a specific amount of currency. Like you want to be slightly rich or something, you know, or you might want to be very rich. It might be to earn a mirror. It's a currency that's worth a lot. It could be anything you want it to be, basically. And actually, this leads me into my next point about. I wanted to talk about the metagame. So this is a slightly more complex topic, but I just wanted to let you know it exists. Basically, you can click off if you're not up for like more complex discussion about the game, and that's completely fair because this could get really boring, but it could get really interesting for some people too. So there's actually different things you can do in the game at the end, like in terms of your own in-game content. And I'm not just talking about playing the game, I'm talking about the kind of things you can do. So you can actually end up being a good crafter, for instance. You can craft particular gear for particular builds and sell it at a profit. So you can make currency that way. You can make currency by boss killing. You can have like a particularly good boss killing character, and you can charge people to kill bosses for them. Now this is all currently done in PoE 1 right now. You can earn by trading. You can just you can buy low, sell high. You can just trade currency all day and make money that way, or different items and things. You can sit in a hideout and make, like, that's actually the best way to make money is actually usually sitting in a hideout and doing that stuff. Obviously it's not how I usually make money, even though sometimes I do. Like sometimes I dabble in trading and crafting and all that, just because that's what I feel like doing and I enjoy aspects of that. But usually I'm out in the maps farming and that type of thing because I enjoy that more. But that is an option, which also means that you can actually not, like, you don't have to be great at the game or to know a lot about it. You can trade for good items, you can level up your character, and you can smash the end game with insane builds, basically. Like, you don't have to be some sort of super nerd to be able to smash in-game content in current PoE. Now, I'm not 100% sure if that's the case in PoE 2. I don't know if there are insanely OP builds that can do the same yet, but I'm assuming there will be, you know, because that's how PoE works. So it is possible to just like make a whole lot of currency, buy a sick build, like look at someone's guide, buy all the items for it, or craft them yourself, whatever, and smash the end game without like having a lot of practice at it or being great. Like I don't really consider myself amazing in the mechanics of PoE. Like I I'm not a racer, I'm not quick in the campaign. I don't really have that great a handle on Uber bosses and things. I do have a bit, but yeah. And I smash all Pinnacle content just by basically outbuilding it, you know, like, and that's outgearing it and out theory crafting it, you know. So that's another way you can play the game as well. But yeah, anyway, thank you for watching my video. Like and subscribe if you want. You can also join my Discord down below. You can ask me questions in there. It's a pretty small group so far, so you know you'll get noticed if you ask questions. I'll answer them. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you.